How colorful do y'all want this? But we didn't have separate bedrooms or anything, but we all had separate beds. And they had a little curtain there, you know, where they had privacy. And then my mom and daddy had a little curtain where they had their privacy. I was always real shy. And I didn't ever take up for myself, and I always felt different or something. And I wasn't different, but I felt that way just because of my birthmark. I really felt like my mother and daddy didn't love me to some point. But my daddy told me one day, if you go out there tomorrow and you let them kids pick on you, he said, you see that limb right there? He said, I'm going to go break it right now. He said, I'm going to whip you. He said, you go out there and if they hit you, you hit them back. Or he said, keep that with you. If they hit you, hit them with it, you know. So I went out there and I had that branch he gave me. They started coming toward me. They didn't do nothing. I started beating them. And my daddy had to come out and tell me to stop. And he always took up for us. He had fights just about every day on the school bus because of us, because we like to dress alike. Back then, any kind of pants you can get is fine, you know. He wore, mother and daddy bought him a pink pair of pants, so he wore them proudly, you know. That was just, well, they'd make fun of him because of that. Ed would take it. When they made fun of me and Jane, he'd get in a fight on the bus every day. Before we'd get off, he'd get in a fight. Then another thing I remember when I was younger is Jane. You know Jane, my sister. We put Jane, told her to go up in the pipe of the driveway to crawl up in there. And when the bus come, get out. The bus blowed and did that, so me and Ed, we got on the bus. We left her in the driveway pot, the big old driveway cement thing, culvert.
Like the culvert.
We got on the bus and left her there. Well, she was stuck. She couldn't get out or whatever. And Mother would go down and check the mail every day, just about the same time Mother would go check the mail. So Mother said she went to the mail, said she heard somebody, and she said, that is Jane. I wonder where in the world, what am I doing here? And Jane said, she's supposed to be at school. She thought she was losing her mind, I guess, you know. And she says, I know that's Jane. And then she get closer to the end of the driveway to where the pipe was at. She looked up there, and we'd left Jane in there, and Jane was stuck. So she had to get her out. What I remembered, he worked in Decatur, Alabama. You know where Decatur, Alabama? Yeah. He worked there. I just remembered that every time he come home, he brought a bunch of ice cream home with him for us. So we all looked forward to that, for him to come home for sure, but that ice cream sure was good. I remember that, and then the last job he worked was at a service station pumping gas. And he would work till he'd come home to go in the front door, and he couldn't get in the front door. He had to crawl up the steps at the house. Because they had severe arthritis. He had a wreck when he was young, and he'd been crippled ever since then. He had to walk on canes. Yeah, he had always used crutches. She worked at a cotton mill, real hard work. She done the work that most men wouldn't even do. She was a big lady, and they gave her the hardest job in the cotton mill. Yeah, and one time while she was working, she got her arm crushed in the machine, and she had to wear a sling, and she had a pin put in her arm, where she couldn't hardly use her arm. But they told her she had to be back at work, and she went back to work and worked with that arm like that. And my daddy, when he got where he wasn't able to work, he would carry her to work and go pick her up. Yeah, he always had old cars. I remember that. There were old cars. This is terrible. I should have never done this, but when Daddy went to this drugstore, West Evanston drugstore. He'd always, when he'd go there for medicine or anything like that, he'd get us a whole stack of the penny candy, the banana cream candy. And we would be parked there. And I remember one time we was parked there, and one of the friends that went to school, a little boy that went to school with us, he come through there. So when he come, I ducked down that car because I thought he was rich and we was poor, and I didn't want him to see me in that old car.
Aww.
I remember ducking down in that car, you know, and I asked, I said, is he gone yet? And so it hurt my daddy's feelings because he said, Carolyn, are you ashamed of us? And I said, no, but I said, he's rich and we're poor. And I said, I didn't want him to know we had an old car like that. And he said, are you ashamed of us? And I said, no, but I said, he's rich. He said, Carolyn, he's not rich. He said, he's not rich. He said, we'll take you someday to let you see where he lives. Our house is not that much worse than theirs is. Said, we got the back part where we just put the tar paper over it and said, your room in the laundry room, in the bathroom, in the hall, said, that we've just built for you. Said, we've got it that we hadn't put the siding on yet, you know, but said, their whole house is like that. And I said, I don't believe that. I can't believe it. I said, they have all the boys and all the friends. They're real popular now. And I said, nobody likes me. And I said, that's because we're poor. And he said, Carolyn, are you ashamed of us still? And I said, no. So one day we'd go riding around on Sunday afternoons. Sometimes we'd just go riding around and looking at places and stuff, just to have something to do. So one Sunday we rode down to see where they lived, and they both lived in houses that had tar paper on it, on all the house, the black paper on it, just like the ones that my room was when they was finished. You know, their whole house was like that. So I told Daddy, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I thought they was rich and we was poor, but I said, we're not poor no more. But we were poor people, but we were rich in some ways too. Like my youngest sister said, we never realized we was poor because we had so much love, and that is true. When you have so much love, you don't think you're poor. You know, you just, you know. He was strict. He was strict in some ways. If he told you was going to get a whipping, you're just going to get a whipping. If he told you it was all right, then it was all right. When we went to church when I was growing up, I didn't sit up close to the front. I sat on the back with all the teenagers and all the misbehaved children. I just misbehaved just like them. But Daddy didn't see me all the time. And I was 15 years old, and he told me, he said, come on up here, Carolyn, you come up here and sing with them. Said, I went like that. Nope. And when we got in the car that night, he said, young lady, you're going to get the worst whipping you ever had in your life. And Lord, I started praying because I knew it's going to be bad. And they wouldn't let us wear, you know, pants like this. I wasn't allowed to wear pants, and I just wore knee highs to cover up what I could, you know. And so when we went to PE, physical therapy, education, went to PE, well, we were supposed to dress out every day. And all the other girls wore shorts, right? Mother and Daddy wouldn't let me wear shorts or pants. They made me wear a skirt. She made me a skirt, a blue skirt, real long, and with my name embroidered on the back of it and all that. And they all dressed out. And they would make fun of me. And then I'd have this one pair of shoes. It's like your shoes you got on. Some similar. Bobos is what they call them.
Oh, yeah.
I had that pair of Bobos. And they'd make fun of my shoes and my dress and all that. So after Daddy done that, I said to myself, and I did, I said, I'm not dressing out another day. I said, that's my last day that I'm ever dressing out. I said, I can make an F or whatever. So I made an F, and I didn't care. And I told Mother and Daddy why I made it, you know, too.
Right.
They didn't apologize. They thought I was wrong. You know, they didn't say, well, we're sorry we put you through that or what, you know. It's just like,
they were
so what, you just, you know, it's your problem or something, you know. But I was mean. I was mean. Clothes. My mom, like, she always made our clothes every Sunday when we went to church. We had a new dress on every Sunday. And all we had to do was we'd go to town every Saturday, and we could go down there and look in the store windows, and you could see a dress there. I could see a dress that I wanted, and I'd say, Mom, I like that dress there. I said, I hope I have one like that one of these days. And she said, which one do you like? And I'd show it to her. I said, that one right there. But I said, that would be hard to sew. I couldn't sew that, you know. And she said, well, let me see. She said, stand up there and let me see. And so I'd stand by that picture, and she'd see, and she'd go home. She'd make it. We'd have it by that.
That's amazing.
It's like magic. But she would, after working at night, the second shift, she would sew till she had time to go to work, and then she'd come in and sew again. And we'd go to the fabric stores while we was up there, and she'd get, she wouldn't buy the regular material. She'd buy what they call remnants, where people had already bought a bunch off of it. And she'd buy the remnants and make her clothes, and she always would measure. Janella does that now. Measure from that, she does like from your nose to the tip of your feet or something. Anyway, that's supposed to be a yard or something. Measure out to be a yard. She always done that. So she got those remnants and them clothes, and I tell them what those dresses would cost new. It was outrageous, I know. But she'd do that, and she'd go home, and by Sunday, whatever we picked out is what we'd have. She done that.